Hello and welcome back. In previous episodes, we've taken a look at the various ways to get up and running utilizing WCF. In this episode, we're going to take those episodes and put a bit of a twist on them and take them in just a bit of a different direction. We're going to focus on how we can host WCF inside of a Windows service and not within IIS. This episode, I'm not really going to focus too much on how to set up and create a Windows service. I'll kind of breeze through briefly as well as the WCF service. I'm going to focus mainly on how to configure it so that you can actually host your service inside a Windows service. So I've already created a basic Windows service application here. I've got a Windows service with my project installer, and I've already created the information needed. So Dimecast Demo is the name of the service name. And what I want to do now is simply register this service so that we can actually see it running. And then we will circle back and actually implement the WCF contract, add that to our service, and then just layer on top one after another. So what I have here is a command prompt. And what I'm going to do is do install util hosting service.exe. The install util is a simple way to install and uninstall a Windows service. And you can see down here that I committed and it went successfully. And if I bounce over to our service manager, you'll see it up and running. Let me refresh this. See Dimecast hosting service is in fact registered. All we need to do is right click it to get up and running. And you can see that it will start just fine. So let's go ahead and stop this right now. The next step we need to do here is while I stop this, we need to actually create our Windows service. Let's do add new item. Let's go down here to WCF service, and we will call this Q service. And you'll see that the Q service will not only create my implementation here, but it will also create my interface as well. And we're going to pretty much leave those alone because we just want to show how we can host them. One thing I will do on the do work is I'm going to copy and paste in some code just so that we know when we actually get inside of it. And all this code here does will just write something to the output log so that we can actually see that we've done something. So we've created our Windows service. If you know anything about WCF, you know that there's going to be a whole lot of stuff created over inside of the app config file. Let's take a look at this and see if there's anything we need to change or add. So we have our service behavior here. We're going to give it a name, doesn't really matter the name. We want to leave the HTTP binding the same, give it contract, we're good there. Don't really care about the identity. So let's go ahead and just get rid of that. And we have our MEX endpoint, and then we have our host, which is going to be just a design time address, which will work just fine. And we want to remember this because in a few minutes when we come back with the WCF test client, this is the address we need to provide. And then here, everything seems to be pretty good. So let's go ahead and save that. Let's recompile it. And now we actually want to start working on the code needed to start our Windows service, our WCF service within our Windows service. What I'll do here is just simply bounce over to the Service1 CS class. This is the main class for our Windows service. And all we have to do here is I want to create a new instance of my service host. Service host is what will allow you to start up a Windows service or register a Windows WCF service outside of IIS. And we're going to say this is a type of Q service. And then we're going to just wrap a try-catch around this because if it throws an exception, we want to be able to catch it. We'll put a breakpoint. We'll have this rethrow the exception just so we can read it. I know it's bad practice, but hey, it's a demo. And then all we need to do now is say service host dot open. Now to be a good little soldier here, we'd want to write some code here to actually close this WCF service. We're not going to focus on that too much here. All you really do here is just create this as a global variable and then just close it later on. And in order to debug this, I've always found the simplest way to debug Windows service is just do some pound if statements. We'll do a debugger.break there. In order to hit this the compile symbol here, we need to go into our properties and change our additional compilation symbols to, say, dev debug, which I've already done for this demo. Now I should be able to recompile this. And if I bounce back over to Service Manager, restart, I should be prompted to debug, and we'll go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and do that now. Start. I'm going to say yes. You can see my breakpoint hit. Let's go F10. Create instance of the host. Open. Got an exception. What's this exception here? HTTP cannot register the URL. Your process don't have access rights to this namespace. Interesting. What would be my exception here? I think I know what it is. So let's hold on and let's fix that real quick. One thing to know is if you're not changing the defaults of your Windows service, when you go ahead and install it, it's not going to install it quite right. So let's go ahead and fix that now. To fix it, what we want to do is right-click, do Properties. And what we want to do is tweak the logon rights. We want this to be as a system account. Let's go ahead and click OK. Now, if I restart this, hopefully I won't get that same exception. And I did not. So my service is up and running. Now what do I want to do? I want to simply open up the Windows Service Test utility and test it out. So if you're not familiar with WCF Test Client, it's just a simple client that you can get by typing in WCF Test Client from the .NET command prompt. We're going to paste in that URL. I said that would become important here in a minute. And it's created my client. Let's go ahead and click on Do Work. Let's click Invoke. And it ran. And if I look down on my output window, you see my request from thread 6 at 8:09 was received. And I can keep hitting this over and over again. And you'll see each one registers a thread. So you can see that I've now successfully hosted a WCF service within a Windows service, and I can actually communicate. And from here on, everything's just standard WCF stuff, nothing special, nothing magical. So to recap, what's the magic here? Well, the magic in reality is about 2 lines of code. Let's call it 3 or 4 if you want to be a good little soldier and clean up after yourself. But you will need to understand how to register a Windows service and get it up and running appropriately. You'll need to understand how to configure the client, the WCF client, and possibly test it through the test client, and all that fun stuff. So not a whole lot of work, but it can take some time to get up and running. So hope you found it useful. Until next time.